Hey, everybody, welcome back to another episode of the DLF Trade Show on the DLF YouTube channel, the most rockin', sockin' YouTube channel in the Dynasty fantasy football world. That didn't go well, but I like it. I'm sticking with it because I don't edit, so it doesn't matter to me. All right, we we are here to use the wonderful tools on dynastyleaguefootball.com to evaluate trades, evaluate players, just try and get some action going, trying to spark some ideas in your brains about ways
Mhm.
to help your fantasy football team because we care about your fantasy football team. And today, okay, so I believe it was, I don't remember if it was last week or 2 weeks ago. There was just a show of, hey, players Russ wants to talk about.
Mhm.
And this morning, hey, Addison, why don't you take a show? Like, pick some players you want to talk about. Like 10, 15 minutes of silence. Okay, I mean, I have two players that I could talk about that I'm interested about talking about. Okay, well, who do you want? I want these two. Okay, let's do that. But this was supposed to be about you, Addison. So, my homework for you, pick three players for next week. You have 7 days because let's face it, we planned this about 6 minutes before we start recording, and you have until then to pick three players to talk about next show.
Okay, so when I message you at 10 a.m. next Wednesday, asking you what we're doing, you can just remind me that I am supposed to pick three players. Pick three players.
You got to do it. Next time I'm not giving you an out. I am not helping you out. It is all on you. So the way the way this ended up working out was there were two players I wanted to talk about, and they sort of had something in common. And Addison was just like, "Why don't we add this third person and make it a thing?" And I'm just like, "Cool, sounds like a plan." So the thing these guys had in common is they are all top 10 dynasty wide receivers.
In ADP
And in
for most
ADP.
people.
Okay, so the first player we are going to talk about is wide receiver 5 on the DLF ADP, and that is Super Bowl playing Super Bowl champion Tyreek Hill.
Super Bowl playing, like as in a couple years ago, last year, the year before
What?
that, not currently.
Oh yeah, not currently. Oh
Ruined
man,
it.
in my head the Bengals were playing the Chiefs, but that happened 2 weeks ago, and that's
Mm-hmm.
both AFC.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool you guys listen to me for advice. Ugh. In a 12-team Superflex league, Tyreek Hill is worth 608.5. The first trade we have is straight up Tyreek Hill for the 22-101. Now, before we get into this trade, I told Addison I have a story that I need to tell about this.
Mm-hmm.
I have a league where my team is good. I've made the playoffs for the past 3 years. I'm never the best team. I finished, third to fifth area. I never made it to the championship. And I'm like, maybe I just, maybe I just redo it. I don't have my 23 first. Okay, well, let me try and go get it. Let's see what it'll take. So I send the guy an offer, and he just rejects right away. So I'm like, okay, cool. Hey man, what's it going to take for me to get my 23 first? And he goes, send me an offer for just the pick because my first offer had some other players. And I'm like, thanks for the help, man. So I sent Amari Cooper for my 23 first. Now keep in mind again,
No, that's not it.
keep in mind my team came in third place this year. So right now, my 22 pick is the 12-11, is the 110. Like I have a good team. Even taking away Tyreek Hill, I still have a playoff team. Now, of course, this guy probably realizes what I'm trying to do. So you overcharge a little bit, and I get that. But of course, I'm not going to send my best offer first. So I send Amari Cooper for my 23 first. Not looking to take on an aging veteran. Wow, someone just called Amari Cooper an aging veteran. That feels so weird. So I'm like, David Montgomery for my 23 first. Rejected.
Nope.
So because I have T. Higgins on this team, and as you can see, I like him. So I reply to him saying, is there any player on my team besides T. Higgins you will give me my pick back for? One word. No. Cool. I move on with my life. I'm like, cool. Not going to rebuild. Let's just retool a bit. I'm looking at other teams to try and make a trade. Bing. I get a notification on my phone. Oh, trade offer from that guy? Okay. I scroll it up. Not only did he offer my first for Tyreek Hill, he wanted a third also. And I'm just like, no, that is very far off. And he's like, it might be far off now, but it won't be in a year.
Oh, stop.
To which my reply is, it's now. It's not a year from now. And while you're probably right, I'm not paying a year from now prices. Now I'm trying to get it now. I'm like, no one is selling Tyreek Hill for a first. And he's like, you wouldn't sell Tyreek Hill for the 22-101. And I went, no. And that was the end of the conversation. One word, no, period. Sent it. He never responded after that. And now I look at this first trade on the trade sheet, and it's Tyreek Hill for the 22-101. Like, this is 2 weeks in a row that you're using this show to like peer into my life, and I feel uncomfortable with that.
That's just how I roll, you know? Like I know everything that's going on in your life. Like I see it, and then I'm like, you know what? We're bringing it up on the trade show.
I've got to change my passwords, I guess. So before my convoluted story, I said Tyreek Hill is worth 608.5 in a 12-team Superflex league. The 101 is worth 700. I don't agree with this at all. That, look, I understand. Okay, given new information, the Senior Bowl happened. At least Malik Willis, I've heard, looked good enough that he bolstered himself to what will probably be the QB1. And from what I've heard from a couple of people, they believe a top 15 NFL draft pick, in which case he probably will be the 101 in Superflex leagues, given quarterbacks and good draft capital. So in my head, I asked myself, am I willing to give up Tyreek Hill, who, in all fairness, will be 28 very soon, but has been a top 12 scoring wide receiver for the past 3 years, at least. That's as far back as my MFL page went that I was looking on, and has no real reason to seem like it's going to get any worse for him. Like, if anything, and if you're one of the believers that believe Kelsey's reaching that age cliff, that just means good things for Tyreek Hill, because he'll start getting some of that volume as well. His speed, Tyreek's speed hasn't gone anywhere. His route running hasn't gone anywhere. And that offense isn't getting worse. So you can't convince me at all that in the next 2 years, Tyreek Hill will stop producing the way he's been producing. I see no reason for it. So to me, I'm not taking that risk on, especially a quarterback that the only reason he's being vaulted the way he was is because of his work in the Senior Bowl, which is what happened with Daniel Jones. It's usually we overvalue quarterbacks because there's usually 3 or 4 taken in the first 20 picks, you know, in the NFL draft. They're scrounging to find one to throw into the top 15. And to me, that's not, he'll be the 101 most likely, but where will that fall into startup drafts? That's my question. And I don't think it's before Tyreek Hill. I think Tyreek Hill at the moment has an ADP of 26. If you ask me, 101 will probably go 35 to 40 at best.
Yeah, there's nobody in this class that I want over Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, I mean, that's really the very short and easy way that I could have said the past 5 minutes of rambling that I've been doing. Like, just to me, Tyreek Hill's just heads and shoulders above anyone that's coming in, and we've seen it. So yeah, to me, I'm sorry, DLF Trade Analyzer. I understand that you're putting the 101 100 points above Tyreek Hill.
Yeah,
I'm putting Tyreek Hill and not even thinking about it, unless team direction dependent, but pure value right now, purely based on value, I'm on Tyreek Hill pretty easily.
Yeah, and what's interesting too is the next one is a 1 quarterback trade, so we can see what Tyreek Hill's value is in 1 QB leagues, which is more than the 1.01. So for some reason, he changes in Superflex, comparing a 1 QB 101 to a Superflex 101, and I'm not really sure why, because outside of Malik Willis, it's a very real possibility this year I mean, the analyzer doesn't really know this, but it's a very real possibility this year that that player is the same player, that the 101 in Superflex is the same as the 101 in 1QB. Like
There's a
if
very
Malik
good chance,
Willis
yeah.
doesn't get the draft capital or, you know, anything like that, or any of these quarterbacks don't really get draft capital, maybe Breece Hall goes somewhere really amazing, or Treylon Burks is like a top 10 pick or something like that. Like it could be the same player in both formats, in which case that shouldn't matter because you're taking Tyreek Hill over him anyway.
Yep.
So
yeah, this is a little rough. Like I think we need some February ADP in here with the actual rookie names, and I think that will correct the injustice that has been done to Tyreek Hill's name in this trade analyzer. So, like Addison just alluded to, we have a 12-team one quarterback trade where Tyreek Hill is worth 805 points. His ADP in Superflex again was 26. His ADP in 1QB 11.5. So we're talking that's presumably 12 quarterbacks, 14 quarterbacks
like
taken
all around a quarterback
in the first 26. Like that's a lot.
That's how it is.
I mean, these days it is kind of what it has become. But let's talk about this trade. One quarterback league, Tyreek Hill for DJ Moore and Darnell Mooney. DJ Moore comes in at 576.3, Darnell Mooney 200.6. After a small package adjustment, we have 748.5 to Tyreek's 805. I like DJ Moore. I like Darnell Mooney. I'm still taking Tyreek Hill pretty easily on this. Now, you will get decent production out of these two guys, but I don't want to trade Tyreek Hill for decent. Like I think I'm past the point of believing in this magical upside of DJ Moore. Of course, they're going to go get like Aaron Rodgers, and then DJ Moore is going to become the next. I can't say Devontae Adams because there's like a 8-inch difference height-wise between the two. Pretty sure it's an exaggeration, but they're not exactly.
We'll get comments on this video like 3 months from now when that happens, going, "LOL, imagine not thinking that DJ Moore has a lead upside now," or something like that. We're like, okay,
please, yes, let that happen. That's fine. I still got him on plenty of my teams,
dude. I would love it. Let's go.
Like we have Darnell Mooney who comes in at about 200 points, which I think that's fine. And then DJ Moore 576.3 at this point, which is, man, his ADP is actually pretty. Oh no, this is one quarterback, right? So his ADP is around 30. And I need DJ Moore to be a better player if Darnell Mooney is the second piece. Maybe if you gave me DJ Moore and throw in like Elijah Moore, right? Like just sticking with the two Moores as the last player. Someone that has the upside that we saw Elijah Moore put up like 160 points in like 5 games that he played. I mean, I know that's an exaggeration, but also he was just starting to do really, really well. Give me a young guy like Darnell Mooney, who was only 24. How is DJ Moore still just 24? Like, that's crazy. He's been in the league for 24 years. But I need either DJ Moore to be a better player, or I need like 2 players of DJ Moore's level, which on the calculator will go on the 2 teams' favor. And that's what it should be when you're doing 2-for-1s. So it's a little too weak for me, especially based on what Tyreek Hill can give you. And I get getting younger, and this isn't bad. Don't get me wrong. Like, you shouldn't feel bad for making this trade. It didn't find its way into the horrible trades, but this is not something I would do.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, if you're looking at production wise, there's going to be weeks where either DJ Moore or Darnell Mooney individually outscore Tyreek Hill. There's also going to be weeks where Tyreek Hill himself outscores both those guys, and could outscore them pretty handedly. So there is that on the production side. Obviously, you're getting younger with the 2 wide receivers, but just by 3-4 years. And DJ Moore, while everybody loves him, and he's been fantastic. He's had like 11, 12, 1,300 yards like every single year of his career. He just doesn't have a quarterback to unlock that next step. And if he's always going to be kind of in that phase because he's not getting a quarterback and I'm not projecting him to get one, then we're just kind of status quo with him as a mid wide receiver 2, which is great. Just not dropping down from Tyreek Hill for a mid wide receiver 2 and a wide receiver 3 with upside. Like you said, it needs to be another DJ Moore level player. It needs to be like Devonta Smith or Terry McLaurin with DJ Moore. It needs to be somebody better than DJ Moore in the next tier up if it's still Darnell Mooney.
Yes.
So we're missing a little bit here on both sides, or just add like another solid pick or something like that to both of them, and then you're good. But as it stands, not enough.
All right, our next player comes in at wide receiver 7, and he is DK Metcalf. And just to put it out there, this is the one player that Addison did bring to the table today. So our first trade is a 12-team Superflex league where someone traded DK Metcalf for Cam Akers. That's weird. Okay, let's talk about DK himself for a second. He's very, very good. Like, I love the fact that he had this huge dent in his profile coming into the league with his like 3-cone and his agility. And the Seahawks actually treated him correctly and slowly introduced routes into his route tree. Like, usually the Seahawks don't do things intelligently because they just run the ball into their center over and over again. But
they realized that he's bigger and faster than everybody else on the field. So they're like, you know what? Just go be bigger and faster than everybody on the field, and
yeah, ask Buda Baker. So DK Metcalf is very, very good. Now, there are a lot of rumors going around of Russell Wilson possibly leaving. I don't think it's happening, especially because Pete Carroll is still there. If they decided to just blow up the front office, get rid of Carroll, get rid of John Schneider, and maybe then. But they also extended them a year ago, so they're not going anywhere just yet. And it would take a lot for any team to be able to get Russ off of the Seahawks and then still be able to have to afford to pay Russell Wilson. I don't think it's happening. But the fact that that is looming over DK's situation matters, because especially right now, everything is just perceived value. This is all fake. This is all made up. This is all narrative driven right now because literally nothing's happening. So it's something that has to matter. I will say, I don't remember if I said it on this show because I'm on way too many shows and I don't remember what I said where. I don't think a different quarterback hurts DK Metcalf. If anything, another quarterback hurts Tyler Lockett. First of all, if Russell Wilson leaves, Tyler Lockett better hide in Russell Wilson's suitcase. Like,
he's small enough, he probably could.
Ouch. But DK Metcalf for Cam Akers. Okay, I get it. Cam Akers is a medical marvel, a miracle that he's playing less than a year after an Achilles tear. Like, that's... But come on, man. Like, in the trade analyzer, 590.7 to 297.7. Like, we're talking of a difference of a mid-first. Okay, that's a little high. No,
yeah, Akers is going to rise in February as well. He's still valued as a back end or mid RB2. He will probably be a top 10 running back.
That's fair, but still,
at least where the value is going, you know.
Let's go back to the ridiculous ramblings that hopefully people didn't just skip past because they just see my face going crazy. You don't pay for next year's prices right now. You don't pay for next February now. There's no reason to do that. Or no, August, 6 months from now. Like, you don't pay that price now. Do you pay a little bit more than you have to? Sure. Not that much. That much. I mean, you're taking DK here, right?
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Just making sure. Like, I was about to move on, but I'm like, let me just double check just to be safe.
My answer for all these trades is DK Metcalf, and you're going to see why, because they are all horrible and people hate DK Metcalf, so go out and buy DK Metcalf.
Oh, my. You ain't kidding.
Dude, they're bad.
They're bad. All right, so the next trade is 12-team one quarterback, DK Metcalf and the 107, where the two of them come in at 1,067.1. For Zeke Elliott, Aaron Jones, and Dalton Schultz. Now, if this was 2 years ago, Zeke, I get it. This is not 2 years ago, Zeke anymore. So, or 2 years ago, Aaron Jones, for that matter. You know, would you trade DK Metcalf for Zeke, Aaron Jones, and Dalton Schultz? Take the first out of it.
Oh, yeah, but that was going to be, I was going to say that. I was literally going to say that I would do this trade without the first.
I don't think I would.
You would keep Zeke and Aaron Jones?
No. Like, would you trade away DK
Oh,
Metcalf for the
no, no,
three
no,
of
no,
them?
no, 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 no. No, I want the DK Metcalf side by himself
Yeah, that's what I'm
over the
saying.
rest of the running backs. Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't even need the first, but if you included the first, that's fantastic. I'll
cool.
take it.
Thanks, man.
But
Yeah,
I didn't need the first to move these three for DK Metcalf.
yeah. These are two very declining assets at this point in a 26 and
Yeah.
27-year-old running back who both have been losing work, even though they are very talented running backs. It don't matter in the NFL. And for a 24-year-old wide receiver who's a stud, and I get it, the Seahawks don't pass a lot, but man, it hasn't seemed to matter. He's still scoring points.
Yeah, and the weird thing is too, like I don't know if people sometimes maybe people I feel like they think that I cherry pick these trades because we're only talking about a couple, so I can get really selective bias on these to like fit a narrative that maybe I have. I don't know. I'm subconscious about that, but I don't. These are like three of the most recent trades for DK Metcalf within like the last 3 or 4 weeks. So like this is all that's and I had another one too. The horrible trade was originally a DK Metcalf trade, but then I moved it for something that I found even more egregious. But there was also
Nice.
a fourth trade that we might have talked about for DK Metcalf today because they are all so bad. And I've never been a DK Metcalf guy. I never understood it whenever he was valued as a top 5 dynasty wide receiver, just because the production didn't really match that for me. And but now, like I always thought that he would be a fantastic wide receiver too, because his ceiling is so high and he could just win you a week, but the floor is a little bit lower. So it just kind of bounces out. Not really a guy that I want as my wide receiver one.
Yeah,
I was never able to get Metcalf as a wide receiver two, but if these are the prices
I might
for
go try.
Metcalf, these are wide receiver two prices for a guy that could literally put up like 40 points in a week. And I am so here for it.
Yeah, right. Like this next trade, if we're still in 12 team one quarterback, is DK Metcalf for Darnell Mooney and the 111. Like Darnell Mooney and the 111, we're not doing the package adjustment here. For 14.3 for DK Metcalf, who was 766.8.
Yeah, he's almost twice as much.
Right? Like, okay, hold on. Let's just make things up as we go along. Would you do DK Metcalf for the 111 and DJ Moore?
No,
Would you do DK Metcalf for DJ Moore and Darnell Mooney?
no.
Yeah, I don't think I would either.
I would probably do it for all three of them.
Actually, well, yeah, for all three, I would probably do. I mean, I would sit and stare at that trade, and eventually just say, no, can't do it. Like the first thing I would do is scroll through the league at who's in my league and be like, is Rocky in my league? Because Rocky's a huge DJ Moore guy. Like, is there somebody in here who's been talking nonstop about one of these guys that I think I could flip them for a little bit more than they're worth? If no, then I'm not taking it because I would rather get the production of DK Metcalf. I'd rather hold on to the value of DK Metcalf if I can't take advantage of somebody, which sounds wrong, but I mean, it's a game. You're supposed to try and win.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is
are bad.
rough.
The
All right, so
the original horrible trade that I mentioned for DK Metcalf was Metcalf for James Robinson and a mid-second.
Oh, gross.
So that was the original horrible trade, but I found something more egregious than that.
Something worse than that. That's impressive. Whoever did that trade.
But these are all since the season ended. Like people hate DK Metcalf. So Russ, you got a day before this comes out.
I'm gonna go straight upstairs,
This
ignore
is
my day job, and start sending some offers. Yeah,
for real, dude. Like, sheesh.
that's rough. Okay, so the next player we're talking about is Deebo Samuel, and if you listen to the Trade Addicts podcast, a proud member of the DLF family of podcasts, when I finish editing and putting it out tonight, I talk about Deebo Samuel a little bit as well. He's in this weird spot where he just finished as like the wide receiver 2-ish?
Yeah, 2 or 3, something like that.
Yeah, like up there. But before the season started, he was like the wide receiver 30 something, and he's wide receiver 9 right now. But I don't think you can convince me that you can get that trade value.
Yeah. Some people really believe in Deebo Samuel. And then he's very polarizing though.
I've always believed in the player. It seems like you're gonna have to get used to him missing a game or two every season. I
Well,
mean, he's done that through college.
the really weird thing, and I don't really even know, like, I want to dive in and like research this, but like I can't. Like, there's no historical basis for a wide receiver who literally was so good as a wide receiver, and then just halfway through the season, his coach was like, "You're a running back now." Like, there's literally no precedent for that. And there's really like, I mean, Cordell
Percy.
Patterson, I guess, or something, but like,
Percy, Harvin.
sure. But he wasn't getting the rush attempts that Deebo was he?
Not that many, but it was insane for a wide receiver to get a rush back then. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's true. But I mean, Deebo was getting 10 plus. Like, he was cutting into Mitchell, you
just
know?
because everyone was hurt. I mean, that's also something to take into
Sure,
account.
but they were playing simultaneously and doing their thing. Like, they each had like 13 or 14 rush attempts. And there are literally games where Deebo Samuel would not have a target. And he's a wide receiver, and he would not have a target. He'd have like 12 rush attempts for like 80 yards and a touchdown. And you're like,
Sure.
what are
I'll
we
take
doing?
points.
But sure, but I
Don't
mean,
care how it
like,
comes.
it's so weird. And because of that, I don't know how to value him. So I'm actually really glad that you threw him in here because
Kyle Shanahan is a genius.
he's something.
Closes his eyes, takes out an Etch a Sketch. Okay. Run this play, guys. Oh no, I shook it. All right, so let's actually talk about the trade. In a 12-team, one quarterback league, Deebo. Oh wait, sorry. I'm assuming you want me to read these team names because you
Oh, no,
typed them out there.
I just thought it was funny.
From an office-themed league between Golden Face and Bushiest Beavers. Probably should have read that out loud. Okay, well, Deebo Samuel comes in at 727.8. The trade is for the 101 and Allen Robinson. The 101 comes still at 700. Allen Robinson 238. After a package adjustment, a very small one, it comes to 920.2. In a 1 QB league, I think I want Deebo Samuel over the 101.
Man. So I think I agree with you that I want Deebo over the 101, but then you add A-Rob. And us being A-Rob guys, like, I know it's A-Rob, but like,
this, honestly, I was surprised to see 238 next to his name.
it is kind of surprising. Yeah.
That's high for what I thought it would be.
But I think what I like, Deebo in the 101 to me really isn't that far off, and the analyzer agrees.
Yeah.
So if you're getting the upside of what A-Rob at this point, you're getting him for his production. You're not getting him for value or anything. So you're just kind of hoping that something happens.
Yeah, but that's
very
why
much in his favor. And that to me is kind of the difference breaker, because like the 101, I feel like I could still do something with, because the value is there and it's going to hold, if not rise. So, maybe I could, if I'm not a Deebo Samuel fan, or like I'm kind of like worried about what his prospects are going to be moving forward because of how weird his season was. Moving him for the 101 and Allen Robinson, I think, is a really good move, because you could turn that 101 into something completely different in a couple months, but it's still kind of in that same range. Like, I mean, we were talking early, like you could flip that 101 for Tyreek Hill, because apparently people would take the 101 over Tyreek Hill, and you'd rather have Tyreek than Deebo.
That is a very fair point
And
you're
then,
making.
you get like a free Allen Robinson just to kind of see what happens, and I'm all in for that.
Yeah, I think what really threw me off was going for the 101 and a 28-year-old wide receiver.
Sure.
Like, because that just doesn't compute in my brain. Like, if you switched it out, like I pulled up ADP, Allen Robinson's wide receiver 31. Around him, we have Amon-Ra St. Brown at 25, Brandon Ayuk, Marquise Brown, Rashad Bateman.
I think A-Rob's gonna drop if that's where if that's where he is at.
He's underneath those guys.
Yeah.
Like,
But I mean, if you drop him down even more, like if we drop him down to the Hunter Renfrow, Juju Smith-Schuster, Kadarius Toney tier, I'm still in. Yeah, I'm still in on like all of those. Like, if you replace A-Rob with like any of those wide receivers, I'm still in.
I mean, Hunter Renfrow and Juju are 38 and 40. So, I mean, he's sort of there, 31. It's only 7 spots away.
Yeah.
So, yeah, no, you're right. I overreacted. I apologize. Yes, you're right. With the value of Deebo and the 101 being so close, if you're not full in on Deebo, the 101 is more versatile in trade talks than Deebo will be. This next one is very interesting. Whew, 12-team Superflex. Deebo Samuel and Mac Jones for Aaron Rodgers and Devonta Smith. Deebo comes in at 499.3, Mac Jones 335.5, which is a total of 832.8. Aaron Rodgers 509.2, still riding strong. Hopefully he doesn't retire. Devonta Smith 281.4, total of 790.6. All intents and purposes, this is even. 40 points is probably a third.
That's even in Dynasty.
Yeah. So the question becomes, do you want the older quarterback or the older wide receiver? Because we got one. I mean, old is very relative here, especially because Aaron Rodgers is 38 and Deebo Samuel is 26. But, there's a young quarterback or the old quarterback, and you're swapping a 26-year-old wide receiver for a 23-year-old wide receiver. I think I want Deebo and Mac Jones.
Ooh, I want Rodgers and Devonta.
I think the only reason is because I think there's a chance Rodgers just retires.
Okay.
Like, if Rodgers signed with another team, and if it was like Denver, my answer would change immediately. But the problem is, this is happening now, not when we have any answers. Mm-hmm. So right now, if I had the choice, I think I'm going with Mac Jones and Deebo Samuel. Here's my reasoning. Deebo Samuel will continuously outscore Devonta Smith. Devonta Smith should take a step forward in his second year. That offense, fingers crossed, takes a step forward. In general, Deebo will still outscore Devonta Smith. Mm-hmm. Mac Jones is not going to outscore Aaron Rodgers.
Unless Rodgers retires, then yes.
Rodgers retires. Mac Jones, to me, is the definition of a safe QB2. He's not even Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins was a safe low-end 1, high-end 2. Mac Jones is like the beautiful wide, quarterback 14 and call it a day.
I don't even think he's that high, but
I don't.
I think he's just there. 250 and 2, and you're good.
It's someone that you'll just be completely fine throwing in your starting lineup every week and not really have to think about it unless they're playing Buffalo in very high wins.
Buffalo in general, I think. Yeah, but
you get 3 pass attempts. Mac Jones is QB 17 in Superflex ADP for January. By the way, just wanted to pull that out.
I think he was lower than that for scoring, though.
Oh yeah, I didn't look that up. I don't have a league up. I just have the DLF site up.
He was quarterback 19.
Like I said, like a wonderful safe QB2.
He was right there with Matt Ryan and Big Ben.
That makes me feel worse about it. But
Trevor Lawrence.
So I'm keeping my answer because I think we're at the point in Aaron Rodgers' career that every year we're going to have the retirement talk, and every year his value is going down. He can still score as the top 3 quarterback, and his value is going to go down every year. And that matters a bit, even though he's scoring points. So I stick with the safe option here, which clearly isn't always the right answer. But I think if we look at the end of the season, this coming season, of Deebo and Mac Jones's points and Aaron Rodgers and Devonta Smith's, I think they'll be relatively close. In which case, give me the youth, give me the safety.
Yeah, the reason why I picked the Rodgers and the Smith side was because even though the analyzer says they're 40 points below, I feel like I could do something with both of them after this. Or, I mean, if you want to keep them, if you're kind of producing we end up in a month after doing this trade and you hear that Aaron Rodgers re-signs with the Green Bay Packers and Devontae Adams is back, or he's been traded to Denver, or he was traded to Pittsburgh. Like if he's playing, his value goes up a little bit just because we have the certainty for at least for 2022. Yeah. In which case, then you could flip him. So I think you could do more with the Rodgers, Devonta Smith side than you can the Deebo and Mac Jones side. That's why I want that side.
And I think you're wrong, so that's fine.
Well, there we go.
No, I think that argument can be made for both. Not that I don't think anyone on the Deebo or Mac Jones side has any reason for their value to go up. Probably the Patriots bring in a wide receiver. That's not going to change Mac Jones's value. Unless it's Devontae Adams.
I was going to say, so Carp has been hyping up A-Rob as a Patriot. Does that change anything for Mac Jones?
Yeah.
I want to say it does. But maybe I'm just too much in love with Allen Robinson, and I have my rose-colored glasses on.
I want to believe that would be great, and I think it would be good. I just
Would it be like a Brandon Cooks wide receiver for Mac Jones? Just like someone a little bit more reliable. That's not
that
Kendrick
absolutely
Bourne.
yes. Like he will get Allen Robinson will probably be great fantasy wise, PPR wise, if he were to end up on the Patriots. But I don't know if it changes Mac Jones all that much. The only thing I would be worried about the Hunter Henry shares I just acquired because he'll start losing some touchdowns to Allen Robinson.
Yeah, I don't know why you acquired those, but sure.
I get bored and I make bad decisions. Again, listen to the Trade Addicts that's going to come out tomorrow. I talk really bad about myself for a while. I did some bad trades this week. Okay, speaking of bad trades, what a lead-in! Yes, nailed it.
Love it.
In a 12-team Superflex league, someone traded Javonte Williams and Deebo Samuel for Mac Jones and Tyler Lockett. Okay, so this is bad. This is very, very, very bad. But when you said it was worse than DK for James Robinson in the second, my head went in a very weird direction.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, would you trade either, whatever way you want to pronounce it, Javonte or Deebo for Mac Jones?
Individually?
Yeah.
No.
So you're definitely not trading both of them for Mac Jones and Tyler Lockett.
I would trade Mac Jones and Lockett for either Javonte or Deebo Samuel.
Well, of course you would. Anyone would. But I don't think anyone's trading away either Javonte Williams or Deebo Samuel for Mac Jones and Tyler Lockett. This person traded.
No. This is that's why I said like this wasn't good, because it's just like it's Javonte Williams and he's the Dynasty darling this year, with or without Melvin Gordon still. Deebo Samuel is being valued as a top 10 wide receiver. And you've got, I know it's super flex, but like we just said that Mac Jones is like the basic of basic. Like when we say like value-based drafting above or like value above replacement, like Mac Jones is the replacement.
He's the line.
Yeah. And then like we grade everybody on how much better or worse they are than Mac Jones. Like that's where we're at. And then Lockett is fine. He's going to be 30. Should Russell Wilson leave? I know neither one of us believe that he will, but like you said, should he? That is terrifying. Yeah, it's just no.
So here's the only thing I could think of, and this leads to what I think is an important topic. The only reason I see this happening, a trade like this happening, this shouldn't happen.
This happened in a safe leagues, by the way. This wasn't a rando. This was a safe leagues.
Okay, so here's what I'm thinking this train of thought was. Oh man, Tom Brady just retired, so I only have one quarterback on my team.
Oh no. What if this was a Tom Brady retirement move?
It's all I can think of is this is a move to fill a lineup that you don't have to set for 7 months. You shouldn't, and not even just super flex quarterback. Do not make trades based on starting positions. You don't have to set a starting lineup for about 7 months. In most leagues, I will not have a running back on my team. Like, my best running back will be like Mike Boone, because now isn't the time for me to have running backs. So I will trade players away, assuming I'm getting good value for the trades. But you're not setting a lineup. So like I've gotten trades rejected because, oh no, I won't have the depth at running back if I do this trade. Oh, why? Who are you starting next week? No one. Like, I'm not strong enough at wide receiver 2. What? No. February. Okay. And again, this always comes with it's hard to do an asterisk with 2 hands. This comes with the asterisk of you are in an active league. If you are in a league that does not trade a lot, it's something you have to keep in the back of your head. It's something you do have to kind of worry about, which go get a better league. Sorry. But if you are in a league that is active, and this happened in a Trade Addicts league, so clearly they are an active league based on the name at least, it's not something you have to worry about. There's really no reason. The only thing you should be doing is maximizing the value on your team, because when it comes down to it, the more value you have, the better players you could trade for later. You trade for quarterbacks, you trade for wide receivers, you trade for tight ends if you want. And when it gets close to the season, when you know which running backs didn't get hurt, when you know which running backs are in what committee, have what competition going around them, you trade for one with your massive amounts of quarterbacks, wide receivers, and tight ends you pulled together. Okay, that's how I build teams. Clearly, not everyone does it the same, but I have seen in my anecdotal viewings of Dynasty leagues, because I did no actual research, that this seems to work the best. This seems to be the best way to handle the offseason, because there's such less risk and such high reward. Now, don't get me wrong. You can zag when everyone else is zigging. Find a way to go get 5 cheap, very studly running backs. Go get, like, maybe not Zeke and Aaron Jones, but like take a step up. People are kind of low on Chubb and Saquon right now. If you can get them at a good price, I mean, I traded for Saquon a few weeks ago because the world was low on him, and then Deebo came around, and people are not as low anymore. But maybe sometimes the right move is to go get those running backs, because if they all stay healthy when the season starts, you hold the power in your hands of who to sell those running backs to, or just start them all. But that's harder, that's riskier, and honestly, I don't feel the upside of that happening is likely enough that it's worth it to just not maximize value on trades and pay no attention to the positions.
I've just been looking at these rosters and wondering why this guy did this.
Don't try and
it's so weird. I don't get it.
We got one answer because someone was listening who was in the league where the bad trade happened. Otherwise, we will never know why these trades happen.
Sheesh. Don't be these people. If anything, this is why we highlight these horrible trades, is A, for entertainment and for us to have a laugh, but also B, like, don't be these people. Your goal every week should never be on the horrible trades. Like Russ was last week.
Except anyway. Like I was last week, yes. And I love how you put that as the intro.
Yep.
All right. Well, on that note, this is the end of the DLF Trade Show. I forgot what I said before about the DLF YouTube channel, which is the best, most awesome, amazing Dynasty-based YouTube channel. See, I lost it again. I tried to find where it was, and I just remembered I got lost at the beginning when I tried to do this. Why didn't you stop me, Addison?
Sorry,
why didn't you stop me?
I wanted to see where you were going. It's like the Michael Scott thing where it's just like, sometimes you start a sentence and you have no idea where it's going.
That's my everyday. All right. Russ Fisher at Dynasty Outhouse, Addison Hayes at AmazeHayes_. We'll catch you next time.